Chapter 2. Corey slammed the gym locker shut and angrily pounded his fist against it. "Hey, what's the matter with you, man?" David asked, still in his practice sweats. "I stink," Corey shouted. "I look like a newbie on the bars today." "So what else is new?" David said with a shrug. "At least you didn't sprain your ankle." He rubbed the ankle, which was swollen nearly to the size of a softball. "Later," Corey muttered disgustedly. He tossed his wet towel over David's head and angrily shoved his way out through the locker room door. He just had the worst practice of the year, maybe of his life, and he knew why. It was the new girl. Corey had been looking for her for 3 days. He hadn't seen her since that brief moment in the hall before fifth period on Monday, but he hadn't been able to get her out of his mind ever since. She was just so beautiful. He had even dreamed about her that first night. In the dream, he was eating lunch in school. She seemed to float across the lunchroom. She came up to his table, her blue eyes shimmering like the ocean in the sunlight. She leaned down and her hair fell over his face, soft and fragrant. She started to kiss his face, his cheek, his forehead, his other cheek. Soft kisses, so soft he couldn't feel them. He wanted to feel her kisses. He tried to feel them, but he couldn't feel a thing. He reached up to touch her face. His hands seemed to go right through her, and he woke up. The dream stayed with him. It should have been a nice dream, an exciting dream, but it wasn't. There was something eerily cold about the dream. Why couldn't he feel her kisses or touch her face? For the next 3 days, he looked for her in the lunchroom and in the halls between classes. He had even waited by the front doors after school, hoping to get a glimpse of her, but she had never appeared. And none of the guys Corey had asked knew who she was or even remembered seeing her. Now, as he trudged through the empty corridor, he tried to think about why his timing had been so off during gymnastics period practice. But her face kept floating into his mind, and once again he imagined her floating across the hall. "Are you real?" Corey asked aloud, his voice echoing off the tile walls. "Yeah, I'm real. But what are you?" a girl's voice replied, nearly starting him out of his high tops. "Huh?" He spun around to find Lisa behind him, a questioning look on her face. "Talking to yourself these days?" He could feel his face reddening. "What are you doing here? It's after 5 o'clock. "It's my school too, you know. I can stay as long as I like. You jocks think you own the place." He shrugged. He wasn't in the mood to joke around with her. "I was working on The Spectator. We're pacing up today." Lisa was assistant editor of the Shadyside High School paper. "I suppose you were doing flip-flops in the gym?" "It's not flip-flops," he said grumpily. "We have a match against Mattawan Friday night." "Good luck," she said, punching his shoulder. "They're pretty good, right?" "They're not that good." They walked down the hall, their footsteps echoing loudly. At their lockers, they stopped to pull out jackets and book bags. "You going home?" Lisa asked. "You want company?" "Sure," he said, although he really didn't. They walked out the back doorway and stepped down into the teacher's parking lot. Beyond the parking lot stood the football stadium, a concrete oval with long wooden bleachers on two sides. And behind the stadium stood Shadyside Park, a wide grassy park dotted with ancient oaks and sycamores and sassafras trees, sloping gradually down to the banks of the Cononoka River, actually a narrow, meandering stream. The nearness of the park made it an afternoon hangout for just about everyone who didn't have an after-school job. It was great for meeting friends, relaxing, enjoying after-school picnics or impromptu parties, studying, making out, playing endless games of frisbee, taking an afternoon siesta, or just staring at squirrels or the slow-flowing river. But not tonight. The wind was cold and gusty, and it swirled tangles of brown leaves in fast circles over the parking lot. Zipping their down jackets against the unexpected cold, Corey and Lisa looked up to a sky that was heavy and dark, a November sky, a snow sky. "Let's go the front way," he said. They headed around toward the front of the school. She leaned against him as they walked. He figured she was trying to keep warm. "Guess it's really winter," she said. They turned up Park Drive and headed toward North Hills, a walk they had made together thousands of times. Tonight seemed different to him somehow. He guessed he was just in a bad mood. They were silent for a long time, leaning up the hill, the gusting wind first behind them, then blowing hard in their faces. Then both spoke at once. "He," Have you seen a girl with blonde hair and she? Are you doing anything this weekend? Saturday night? They both stopped talking at the same time, then started again at the same time. She shoved him. You go first. He shoved her back, but not as hard. No, you. A car horn honked at them. Probably someone from school. A dark blue Honda Accord sped by. It was too dark to see who was inside. I asked you if you were doing anything Saturday night, she said, leaning against him again. No, I don't think so. I'm not either, she told him. Her voice sounded funny, a little tense. He decided it was just because of the wind. Have you seen a girl with blonde hair and big blue eyes? He asked. What? A very pretty girl, but strange looking. Kind of old-fashioned, very pale. She let go of his arm. He didn't see a disappointed look on her face. You mean Anna? She asked. He stopped walking and turned to her face, his expression suddenly excited. The streetlights flickered on. It looked as if he were lighting up because of her answer. Anna? Is that her name? You know her? She's a new girl. Very pale, blonde, has her hair just brushed straight back with a beret in front, wears dresses all the time. Yeah, that's her. Anna. What's her last name? I don't know, Lisa snapped, then regretted revealing how annoyed she was. Corwin, I think. Anna Corwin. She's in my third period physics class. Wow, he said, still not moving, the trees casting shadows across his face as they bent in the wind. You know her? What's she like? No, Corey, I don't know her. I told you, she's a new girl. I don't know her at all. She never says a word in class. Sits in the back row as pale as a ghost. She's absent a lot. Why are you so hot to know her? What else do you know? Corey asked, ignoring her question. Come on. That's it, Lisa said impatiently. She started walking on ahead of him, taking long strides. He ran to catch up. I thought I made her up, he said. No, she's real, Lisa replied. She doesn't look real, but she's real. You in love with her or something? Oh, I know. David and you made a bet to see which one could get a date with her first. She shoved him again, nearly knocking him off the sidewalk. I'm right, aren't I? You two always pick on the new girls. Again, he didn't seem to hear her. Don't you know anything else about her? Whose homeroom is she in? Where does she live? Oh, yeah, I did hear that. She transferred here from Melrose. Her family moved into a house on Fierce Street. Fierce Street? Corey stopped short, suddenly chilled. Fierce Street, a narrow street that wound past the town cemetery and through the thick woods on the south edge of town, had a special meaning for everyone in Shadyside. The street was cursed, people said. The blackened shell of a burnt-out mansion, Simon Fear's old mansion, stood high on the first block of Fear Street, overlooking the cemetery, casting eerie shadows that stretched to the dark, tangled woods. Terrifying howls, half human, half animal, hideous cries of pain, were said to float out from the mansion late at night. People in Shadyside grew up hearing the stories about Fear Street, about people who wandered into the woods there and disappeared forever, about strange creatures that supposedly roamed the Fear Street woods, about mysterious fires that couldn't be put out, and bizarre accidents that couldn't be explained, about vengeful spirits that haunted the old houses and prowled through the trees, about unsolved murders and unexplained mysteries. When Corey and Lisa were kids, their friends liked to dare one another to go for a walk on Fear Street at night. It was a challenge few kids were willing to accept, and those who did never stayed on Fear Street for long. Now, even though Corey was older, the words Fear Street still brought a chill. I think Anna belongs on Fear Street, Lisa said, giving Corey her half smile. She could haunt one of those old houses as good as any ghost. I think she's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen, he said, as if he felt he had to defend her against all attacks. So do you have a bet with David or what? She asked. No, he snapped, lost in thought. They reached their houses, dark shingled ranch houses, almost identical, set back far from the street behind tall hedges of evergreens, on wide manicured lawns, as were most of the houses in North Kills, the nicest section of town. About Saturday night, she tried again. Yeah, right. See you tomorrow, he said, and began jogging up the long paved drive to his house. Anna. Anna Corwin. The name repeated in his mind. What a nice, old-fashioned name. That's right, operator. The family's name is Corwin. It's the new number on Fear Street. I'm looking for it, sir, the information operator said. There was a long silence. Why am I so nervous just calling information? Corey asked himself. He had thought about Anna all through dinner. Now, up in his room, he had decided to get her phone number. I know I'm going to be too nervous to call her, he thought. I just want to get the number, in case I want to call her someday. There was a long silence. He sat leaning over the desk in his room, a pencil poised over the yellow pad he kept near the phone. Yes, here's the number. It's a new listing. The operator read the number, and he scribbled it down. And what's the address on Fear Street, operator? We're not supposed to give that out, sir. Come on. I promise I won't tell anybody. Corey laughed. Surprisingly, the operator laughed too. I guess it's okay. It's my last night anyway. It's 444 Fear Street. Thanks a lot, operator. You're a nice person. You're nice too, she said, and quickly clicked off. Corey stood over his desk and stared at Anna's phone number on the yellow pad. Should he call it? If he called her, what would he say? Call her, Corey. Go ahead. Don't be such a chicken. She's only a girl, after all. Sure, she's the most beautiful girl you've ever seen, but she's only a girl. He picked up the receiver. His hand was cold and clammy even though it was quite hot in his room. He stared at the number on the yellow pad until it blurred before his eyes. No, I can't call her. What would I say? I just stammer around and sound like a jerk. She already thinks I'm a jerk after seeing me standing on my head in the lunchroom. He put down the phone receiver. No, I can't. I just can't. Sure, why not? He picked up the receiver. This is stupid. I'm going to make an idiot of myself. He punched her phone number. Put the phone down, Corey. Don't be a jerk. It rang once. Twice. Maybe she won't even remember who I am. It rang again. Again. Nobody home, I guess. Phew. He let it ring 4 more times. He was just about to hang up when he heard a click at the other end, and a young man's voice answered. Yeah? Oh, hello. For some reason he wasn't expecting anyone but Anna to answer. His mouth was suddenly so dry, he wondered if he could speak. Yeah? Is Anna there? What? Who was this guy? Why did he sound so annoyed? Maybe Corey had woken him up. I'm sorry. Is this the Corwin house? Corey asked. Yeah, it is. The young man rasped in his ear. Can I speak to Anna, please? There was a very long silence. Sorry. This is the Corwins, but there is no Anna here. The phone clicked off.